Hi guys, what's up? This is so weird to be filming by myself. If you're new here, we're usually a couple channel, but I'm overseas, so forgive me. I don't have the proper lighting or setup or like anything basically. But yeah, let's try this. A lot of you asked about how I started my first business in Korea. I started two of them actually. When I first vacationed here, I had a freaking blast. I went like everywhere. After traveling, I went back for a year of college and I knew that I would not be able to survive in a regular work setting. I work as a journalist for 2 years. I worked in the military. I worked for my parents' company. Yeah, I just knew that I wanted to do something that would allow me to travel, allow me to freelance, write. I'm a writer. Okay, let's be honest. And the party. I did do a lot of partying there. And 75% of my photo album looks just like this.
We are getting soju soon.
When I first came, I was a really shy person. Even now, I still get uncomfortable when there's more than 2 or 3 people in the conversation. Even this is a lot for me. But I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to open up a lot more. So that's why I do this, and that's why I opened this business here, because I thought it would help me grow and learn, and I sure did grow and learn. And I opened a guest house, which is basically a hostel. I spent maybe 1 year finding a building actually. So no one understood until it was actually finished. Even Sangwon didn't understand either. I kind of just like called him everywhere. Hey, can you do this? Can you help me with that? Can you do this? Can you come to this realtors meeting? And it was honestly a challenge because my Korean was not at a level to be able to talk to the government workers for the paperwork, like realtors about serious things. It just wasn't there. Like legal terms, lawyers, I was not there at all. So honestly, he helped out a lot with translations, him and some other friends I have here in Korea. So we spent about a month building up the actual house. And I really enjoyed getting to know people when I came here. So I wanted a place where foreigners and Koreans could meet up, travel, mingle, talk, exchange culture and exchange language and all that good stuff. And basically do all the fun stuff that I enjoyed in Korea. So that's why I started it. As you can see from my videos, I was also a party girl. So I hosted a party every Friday for foreigners and Koreans, students, travelers, kind of like everybody. It got bigger and bigger, and eventually we had to move it outside of the house. People started calling the police on us. It was so loud and crazy. And we had like over 60 people in the house. So that's why we moved it out, and I started the next business with another friend. We helped a lot at my house. It was basically a language exchange party slash tourism thing. But we used to give tours, host English classes, Korean classes, and parties. Mainly parties and hangouts and stuff. Honestly, a lot of people came to meet people. I noticed in Korea that it's really hard for Koreans to make Western friends, and it's really hard for Westerners to make Korean, like real friends, guys, like you know, and hard for people to talk to each other. Not everybody, but just some people I saw it's a difficulty, which is why I found Koreans come to these groups, because it's hard to approach someone from a totally different culture and language and just say hi, you know, do you want to have a coffee, or I don't know, it's weird, right? So and there are a lot of cultural and language barriers that I saw, that I experienced when I first came. And I noticed that this is just my personal experience, but I feel like in these situations, one person has to take the cultural burden and one person has to take the language burden, cultural burden. So I wanted a safe space where everyone could just meet up and try this out. A lot of people actually came just to meet a girlfriend or boyfriend or like a hookup partner or like whatever. I got to know everyone pretty well, so when there were new people would come to me, Koreans would be, hey, I'm really shy and my English isn't good, but can you introduce me to a Westerner today? I'd be like, okay, sure. And some of them would come to me with specific, I want to meet an Indian person. I've never met an Indian person before.
PB, can you find me an Indian person?
I'd be like, okay, sure. Or I would see For example, back to the cultural language burden, I would see a Korean like struggling and they like just literally don't know anything in English and they really want to talk, or they're saying something wrong in English, and I would come over and try to help with this. I had a friend that came and she kind of just came to Korea and she just learned some Korean words from K-dramas and started blurting them out and blurting out curses. And she like grabbed a soju and poured it for herself in her cup, which is like a huge no-no. And everyone was like, and no one wanted to talk to her. And I was like, okay, how do I fix this? Oh my God. Things like this. I made a few couples. If I just thought they'd be a good match, I would just link people up, and it was super fun. I learned a lot about Korean culture and why people think the way they think and how they interact with people and why they do it. And I spent a lot of time explaining things. We had this masked event where around 200 people came. It was like a huge blowout in Gangnam, and it was really difficult for us. We saw them by themselves and we couldn't like match everybody up, and it was a bigger setting. So people were, you know, you go inside and you're new and you're uncomfortable. And the thing is that I've been that girl before. Do you remember that person back in high school that never talked and just the weird kid in the back of the classroom? That was me. That was totally me. So this definitely helped me open up a lot more. So I brought Sang-hoon and I was like, hey, you gotta help me today. It's too big, the event. And we had let in 20 Westerners and they were in the back, like their table. And I just noticed they were by themselves. They didn't really know anybody. They weren't mixing. They were kind of having fun by themselves. So I went to our Korean regulars and I picked out like two of my best guys there. And I was like, hey, come talk to these foreigners. They're really fun. And so I was introducing and working. And then I turn around and there's like a line of Koreans standing behind Sang-hoon. And I was like, wait, what are they doing? And he was like, they want to ask you if you can introduce them to a Westerner there. And I was like, okay. They ran over and they were like, hey, what should we say? What should we do? They just don't know how to walk up to people and say hi and just introduce themselves and approach people in general, especially Westerners, and in a different language. So for those people, we did a lot of picnics, smaller events, movie night or something, paint and sip, a bunch of drinking games. Korean drinking games are super fun. They will get you wasted. So one thing that was difficult was making sure everyone was meeting each other halfway in terms of language and culture. I had a lot of Koreans that would come in and they would say rude, like things they didn't know were rude. You don't have to explain, don't take it personally. They just don't know. Or you'd have a lot of Westerners who come in who don't know a lot of cultural things. That would be a problem. I've had people come and say off things before and then, where's your manager? Let me talk to your manager. And it'd be like, surprise or whatever. I had some guests come and I was telling them this is the way to come and they freaked out when they saw me and they were leaving and I heard them calling, oh my God, there's this weird black worker there. We don't know, blah, 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 and we can't get into the place. And I was watching them because like, you dumb, stupid, or dumb, huh? That was fun. And I would freeze up and every time I had to walk into a government office to talk to anybody, because honestly, like a nightmare. It's really tough. Korea is really strict with laws and regulations for businesses in Korea, especially for Westerners. So if you're planning to open a business, I would tell you to really look into everything. I had a lot of paperwork trouble. Korea is really, really strict. Even for Koreans, it's really strict. So yeah, that was my work experience in Korea for 3 years.
Today's gonna be a day today. Find out just what you gotta do. I don't believe in everybody feels the way I do. Just trust you now. Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe and like down below. Bye guys. Let me know if you have any more questions or comments.